Is it time to ding ding?
It's time for the ding dings.
Time for the ding dings. That's what she said. What's up, y'all? What's happening, y'all? We getting it don't matter. It's after 5, yet before 7 on a Sunday. So y'all know where we at. Hustle Different Podcast. Welcome everybody. Welcome. We are live. I'm gonna send out the link in just a moment. And our surprise guest, I didn't announce this. He's back. Mr. David L. Moore is in the building. What's up, y'all? What's well? Give Dave L. Moore.
Yeah. Boing.
Second best. You know, look, everybody feel like we know him now. Look, we like family. We like, oh, that's just Dave. You know what I'm saying? But that's who it is. Dave L. Moore in the building. And I'm going to go through the intro, y'all. This your boy, Gray Dave. Everybody's favorite caramel-colored homie. Sis Shantae came in the building.
I keep sinking down to the floor. One day I'm going to move up to a good seat.
Oh, okay. He was blocking the camera. Pacino. All right, in the building, Grady QB. Sitting down the table from me, y'all know who it is. Jay the historian in the building. What's going on, Jay? What's going on, Jay?
What up?
All right, and we got Beans on the scene over here, tearing up stuff as usual. What's up,
Word
Beano?
up, word up.
Cujo and
What's happening?
she Shantae and the Rise of Death. Y'all don't understand. It's not no disrespectful thing. It's not like ladies first. She would hate if I introduced her first. Anyway.
How you doing?
See, you know, y'all know. See, I figured her out, so that's why we do it this way.
What's up,
So
America?
she is in the building. She Shantae and the Rise of Death. And our special guest, of course, in the building, David L. Moore, as I said. We had Dave, y'all, come out today. Dave is actually just sitting in. He's not actually in the hot seat. He's actually sitting as one of us.
All right.
Today, he just wants to sit in on the topics, you know what I'm saying? Sit in on what we're talking about. And, of course, y'all know I got some wonderful things for us to discuss. Buddy. He has some wonderful things for us to discuss.
Do we?
All right, we getting ready to get the. Hold on a minute. Well, here, first of all, this is what we are going to do.
You need to change the title.
Say what?
You got to change the title. We got the other podcast up there.
You got another podcast?
Like for our live, we got the.
Let's see. Hold on.
Dude,
Hey, I will be right back on my line. Hold on.
So everybody week been?
This is organic. This is how we do it.
How everybody week been?
Man, wonderful.
Wonderful.
Wonderful, man. You know, anytime you get to go through a week, wake up, blessed to go through another week,
Yes, sir.
it's wonderful.
You got that right.
It's wonderful, man. It was I was at work and talking to the salespeople, and a quote came up, man, and I said it to him. It's hard being broke. It's hard not being wealthy. But guess what else? It's hard being successful. It's hard winning. So if you know both paths is hard, why not pick the hard that get you paid, right?
You got that right. Right. I mean, ain't nothing worth it if it ain't hard. For real.
Ding ding, boing.
Oh, shit. Here we go.
We
know what she talking
Sunday
about.
after Easter. It's after Easter. Everybody back to the norm.
Man,
What's
it's
going
been
on,
that
Jay?
week. It's been that week,
Jay,
man. Hey.
Jay has been the man on the move, the man on. Hey, y'all, we're going to let Jay get us caught up on what he's been up to. He has been moving and shaking. I don't know if y'all been seeing. He's been all over the internet. He posts daily because this man is always moving. He's been back and forth from the Chirac, back and forth. Jay, come on, catch us up on what's going on. Talk to
Hey
me.
man, you know, it's everywhere I go, man. Hustle different in the heart, man. All my brothers right here at this table. Cujo, Beans, Dave, the other Dave, Shantae, Coach. So, you know, I had to get back to the Shy, man, and show some love up there, man. And came back to the Lou opening day. Opening day was off the chain, man. You know, for the St. Louis Cardinals. Everybody showed up. It was one Cardinal Nation. Like I said, man, everybody, I appreciate everyone that shares the post, that interact with the post, man. I've been out, man. Those high gloss postcards that Dave got, probably all over the
You and me
south
both.
side,
They in
north
all the
side,
clothing stores.
St. Louis, Chicago. It's this store they got up there called Fair Play, man. I probably passed out about 20 of them. It's on south side Inglewood, man. Hey, just pushing the brand, man, because that's what you have to do, man. You have to get up every day. Like I did a post and my man responded to it. We gotta start, and I know I can't make adults do anything, but we gotta start looking at a day in a different type of frame. It's a day, so we've always been encouraged to get 8 hours of sleep. Make sure but that's 1/3 of your whole day. Sometimes you have to segment that day into the time, and then time is still relevant. So I know a lot of times when I'm up, people are asleep. It's always daytime somewhere, man. So that's an opportunity for me to push this brand, push the 9 to the line, man. It's hustle different, man. So that's the only way we're gonna be able to do it, and that's what I gotta say, man. Thank you for the time, man. One thing, man. Hey, man, shout out to my man Nico Church, man, for doing some of the photography for me down there at that opening day. Shout out, Nico. I told you I was gonna let him know.
That's
I'm
what's
gonna
up.
step back.
Yesterday was the poppin' St. Louis day. You had the Battlehawks, you had the Cardinals, and you had the city playing. Downtown was a beautiful thing, and it was no issues. It was a rainbow of people out there, all different nationalities. Man, I mean, like yesterday was a super busy day for me. We had a show last night. We killed the show.
Hey.
We had one Friday. We killed that too.
That's what's up.
But it was interesting because I wanted my son just to be able to see people move. You know what I mean? And he was like, "Wow, Dad, all of them coming for this?" I'm like, "Yeah, they coming for this, and then we finna go see what else they coming for too." You know, what I mean? It was just the excitement of something that's congruent, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like that's a blessing for him to see without any issues. You know what I mean? Like we even saw a couple of people fix a problem with alcohol.
Yeah, but you know, I think it cures everything, Lord Jesus.
I mean, but sometimes
I
it
did
can cause
go to
everything.
Soulard and drink alcohol yesterday. Salud. See, look at us.
Look at us.
All right, well, the topics, like I say, Dave is here as one of us today. He is chilling out. He is just getting in with, some of the things we talk about. And I know if you've been anywhere, if you've been awake in the past few weeks, there's been a lot of teenage violence going on in our city. Everybody have a way, their own way to feel that they could curb the teenage violence. But I'm just gonna ask y'all opinion because we probably got a few different takes on how this gonna go. And we're gonna start with Dave because of the rest of us, we are us. So we're gonna start with Big Dave over here. What you got, Dave?
So,
talk to me.
Anytime my mind and I hear about violence, especially in youth, it always goes back to the upbringing. And single parent household, that's one of the more difficult things to do is raise a child in a single parent household, whether it's single dad or single mom. It's very difficult. It's not impossible, but if you use numbers, you use mathematics, the stats go down drastically. That all is because the definition of marriage and family has changed in the Western world. It does not mean the same thing. So now when you start peeling back definitions of words or phrases like single parent families, now where does that branch off to? That branches off into children who have not been taught the way. If you do not teach your child, somebody is going to. If you do not teach your child, then the media, television, they're going to. There's many kids right now, man, you ask a kid, what do you want to be? What do you aspire to be? They're going to tell you something most of the time that is, they probably have about a 5 or 10% chance to become. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying it's very difficult. Now let's just think about that. I would rather take a shot on becoming something that I have a 5 or 10% chance to become, or do I want to look at my life more as I impact the world if I go do this? Let's say instead of me wanting to be a basketball player, I want to go be a chemist. Let's say I want to be an astrophysicist. Let's say I want to do something else besides what is 5 or 10%, and go do something that most people consider extraordinary. So when you talk about teenage violence, it all goes back to the upbringing. What's acceptable? What's not acceptable? If you have a standard as a parent, your child knows what's acceptable and what's not. You're not going to go and do certain things because we talked about last time how you raise your child to understand that you work your ass off for your last name. I ain't got the shirt on now, cuz.
Bring your camera back. Push it, bring it back to me so you get you.
Stand behind his own. You stand on his own.
So yeah, that's right. So but raising your child that your last name means something, that you go to work and you pay the price and you hustle and you grind and you've been through all these years of war for something. When you raise it that way, man, it just don't make them same decisions. You kind of miss stuff. You know, you kind of see stuff before it happens. So it's all based on the upbringing.
I agree. I mean, but we also have to. I won't just say it's the upbringing because, as you said at the beginning, we got so many facets of view of things, and these kids are way privy to a lot more things than we were as children. I mean, like my son, for example, he knew every dinosaur in the world and how they ate and what herbivore, omnivore. He knew all of that before he could even read. You know what I mean? So for me, it's always been about building that. Like, if that's what your interest was, I consistently build on that. You know what I'm saying? As far as birthday presents be chemistry sets. Simply because I'd rather put that in front of you. You know what I mean? I got another child, he an athlete. They two different things. You know what I mean? So I don't want to force him to be something I want him to be. I'm following his lead to see what path he's trying to go through so I can apply myself accordingly.
I think it's more, it's systemic. And we were just having a violence conversation. It was a violence forum that we had gone to on Thursday. And the issue is we have nothing. You have these people who have everything, and Dr. Marty Casey said it best, like, it's this funnel. And so everybody has everything, and then the lower you get, it's less and less and less, and now we're fighting over crumbs. And so when you look in North City, you look in North County, and you don't have community centers, you don't have on every corner or in different, you have nothing for these children to do, and an idle mind is the devil's workshop. And so your parents are gone all the time because they're working, and they don't have the time to put into you because they're working, because they can't survive without working, and then these kids are left to their own devices. And now you have people who don't know any better, and you don't know what you don't know, so you don't know no better. Now you raising a kid and they know even less, whereas when we were coming up as latchkey kids, there was the World Center. There still is, but that's all there is in that whole area.
Yeah, you can't even go on Matthew Dickey no more.
Right. And so these kids are sitting outside doing what? I mean,
idle time.
Doing what?
That
and
was
what are they
playtime.
learning? And nobody's there to tell them no. And then you scared to talk. You scared to talk to the little kid on the block because now you're into something else. But we are fighting over crumbs and not really getting to the root, which is poverty. And poverty is breeding this. But then you have the devil that's called social media, where it's being glamorized to go outside and fight and clown, and jail, like we were saying last week, jail is glamorized. All this foolishness is being shown and fighting, and then everybody standing there with their fucking camera and not breaking up the fight, and so they don't know what they don't know. And their parents didn't really necessarily get all of that, in them.
They influence them.
Right. And yeah, and you're a
Involuntarily.
certain way. You can't say nothing to a kid when the kid is at school. The teacher can't because the mama come up here clowning, and this is their mentality. And what are they teaching the kids? So as they get older, so now we're in this. So it was us, and I guess I could say maybe these are kids having these kids acting like this.
Right.
There's us who's saying, okay, you have to do it this way, but then these folks half-ass doing it, and then half-ass is giving birth to
More and more.
to less. And so all they know is fighting or waving their gun in the video, or the things that they're doing, and nobody's telling them is wrong until they're in jail. And so
I mean,
we have to figure that part out.
No, I'm just more, like I said, technology is just the thing. Me and Jay were actually having this conversation. It's like, I'm just going to use some of the points me and you were talking about. um, as far as technology has kind of literally flipped everything upside down.
Yep.
Because just one example is we didn't know what I'm gonna say. We was talking about Terry Bradshaw, just to go showing age. You know, everybody knows Terry Bradshaw. Even if you don't like football, even if you've never watched a football game, you know who Terry Bradshaw. Yeah. Just say, I don't even know if you have. I was using this as an example, so don't y'all don't chop me down if he never been divorced. But I was saying if he would have got divorced from his wife, the odds of us hearing about the settlement and what happened and all that was so minuscule. So it didn't give an average woman a scale to go on. But once technology came out, you looked at it like, okay, Michael Jordan, when him and his wife split up, he gave her $20 million. Jimmy around the corner ain't got $20 million, but he make $42 a year.
And she trying to get 35.
20, 25.
She want 35
because of what Michael Jordan and his. You get what I mean? Because it was a scale thing. You know what I mean? But they didn't have a scale to go off of as available. They did, but it wasn't as readily available. So that's changing the whole dynamic of a lot of aspects of everything for as relationships. Prenups. You heard of a prenup? I could probably pull up maybe 10 songs in the past 50 years where somebody talked about a prenup. Yeah. But when the internet came along,
that became a
now
big thing.
Prenup became. Well, you know, get a prenup, and let's get a prenup, and get a prenup.
You get a prenup, and everybody make 50 grand.
But it's ways around everything. We in the car business. Look, they can put as is everything sticker on the car, post it on the car, and all that stuff. It says as is, big old X on it. You take that car home, that car could break down and blow up and all that stuff, and you can still have a chance. I'm gonna say you will. You still have a chance of winning that battle against the dealership.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. When it's already, but it's been.
That's what we're saying.
You'll be heard.
You definitely had a voice.
You see what I'm saying? No. Even though you signed an ironclad,
so
you still
to use that analogy with what we also talking about, which is the youth. It's the same thing because, like for me growing up, it was the bus driver, the mailman, and the dude that dropped off the milk at the corner store. Oh yeah. Right.
And the insurance man who came to your house to collect the money.
I ain't never had one of them, but like that for me, they was always the guys that gave you some kind of positive feedback. You know what I mean? Like I caught the bus to River Rose, I caught the bus to Marty's, I caught the bus to Gus. You know what I mean? If we get on the bus and we doing too much, the bus driver will stop it and come and speak to you and say, young man, whatever his fuel of thought was at that time. But now, it's like I always felt like it was a gap in generations. Like we was trying to build that bridge back up to get a better understanding. You know, like a long time ago, I did this thing called it was a march. I can't remember what the name of it was, but we used to go through different neighborhoods with some Muslims and some Christians together, which was the first time I had ever saw that. And the way we was able to communicate with people, like I'm a person who used to be in the streets. You know what I mean? So some of these young guys, they knew me, and by them older guys knowing that they knew me, or I had a reputation of some sort, I was trying my best to teach them how to talk to the young guys, right? But now that gap is so much bigger, but it's still the same. It's still the same process because what happens is our parents did whatever they had to do, so they was always working. And guess what we doing? The exact same thing. Excuse me. The only benefit to me in this time is because of all the access, we able to start businesses to have more time. We able to do other things. It's so many more forms of money to be generated in this world right now legally that it allowed me to be able to spend more time with my child. You know what I mean? Like my oldest, I wasn't football practice, basketball practice, school. Other than that, I'm at work.
Yeah, but you gotta want that though. Yeah. You wanted that,
and
a lot of folks don't even. It doesn't even enter into their mind that I should be doing better for my kid, or I shouldn't be doing these things in front of my child. And hell, if somebody tell you that, like maybe you ought not do that. And then it's a whole fight. I don't really have an answer, but it takes a whatever it is, it has to be consistent. Like you're saying, people walking down and having this conversation. Once it stopped, then what's left? I mean, so whatever that is,
let's look
has
at
to
it
be
from
consistent.
a perspective that you just touched on, and I'm gonna go into a nuance with that. Let's look at it from a you are what you eat aspect. What you think you will start to actualize. What you practice, you will become. What you become becomes a habit.
Absolutely.
So when I say that, not negating the fact, because you got so many different spectrums of it. You got young men, and I know some of them personally. I grew up with them that come from 2-parent households. Good values, good foundation. You got some guys 1-parent household, just a mom, just a dad, and they go in different directions. You are what you eat, what you consume. So your parent could tell you, tuck your parents' pants in, line everything up, make sure you neat before you leave the house,
Don't
and
walk
those
out the
different
house smelling
things,
like skin.
etc. But now, what we're dealing with is now you put these earbuds in, and now Lil Durk's talking to you, Von's talking to you, PGF Nook is talking to you, and they telling you to drill, and you, whatever foundation that your parents set for you, you hearing something else. It's the first thing you do when you wake up is very influential upon how your day is gonna be. All right. So if you wake up, you eat a bowl of cereal, you a young person, you automatically infusing yourself with sugar, and now you listen to this hype music, and that's releasing more endorphins, and you feeling that more than what your parents said about clean up your room, be neat, make sure you say yes ma'am, no sir, yes sir, no sir. So this is, and they're dealing with this for way more hours than you had to interact with them.
Do you think that's because it is a laughter or too much freedom?
Absolutely.
It's too much. It's a balance. It's a balance. It's freedom and access. It's freedom and access. It's too much of this.
Yeah.
It's too much of this, and no matter what kind of parental guidance.
What's the age of accountability for a child? What's the
Today?
age? What's the age what age do you think today that you say, you know what, no matter what you're going through, no matter what you done heard, I don't care who told you what, I don't care if the TV raised you, I raised you, he raised you, she raised you. From this moment on, I'm holding you accountable for your actions.
12.
10.
2.
Man,
You could really say
but I'm gonna
6,
tell y'all
because
this.
6,
It really don't really matter if you got one parent or 2 parents in the home. It
It's a
really
mindset.
don't matter. It's the mindset of the kid. You know what I mean? Because I was raised with one parent. Dave was raised with one parent. We knew right from wrong. We knew what to do and what not to do. Whether we did it, we knew better. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think that you represent the 10% of the people who were raised in that manner that made it, and then there's 90% of the people who were raised that way that didn't make it? The stats gonna tell you they're gonna fight against it.
Yeah, you can fight against it. Go ahead.
No, Bill, I'm saying is that too, those single parent situations are different.
Yeah.
Because if you have a single, now this is all Dave Forrest's opinion.
Right.
All of
It's all of them opinions.
Right, this is my opinion. So you can have a single kid that grows up in a rural neighborhood where there are homes that are spaced out. You know what I'm saying? Where the next door neighbor is not really a stone's throw, well, whatever. You have a single parent that live in a neighborhood where the houses are next to each other. Or you can have a single parent that lives in an apartment complex. There's a difference.
They big differences.
Because you have a parenting structure in the apartment complex from the days where I'm from.
Right.
Your daddy could kick my ass.
Right.
I might not have had a daddy in the house. That wasn't the point. It was about if you was wrong, you was wrong. I ain't whooping you because you ain't got no daddy at home. I'm whooping you because you was wrong. Like my mama could
It
whoop
takes
you.
a village.
It's not about a man.
It was a
But
village.
When I was at my best friend, one of my best friends is Charles. His name Charles was my dirty. He had both his parents. Charles was like everybody daddy. His father was like everybody daddy. So if you had a daddy at 90, you had another daddy. You see what I mean? And if he caught you doing something fucked up with his son, he gonna whoop his son and he whooping you.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
And I learned a
That's
lot
where
of
that goes
respect
away
from
from
that.
because now once everything went viral, you can't reprimand your child. There's a difference between reprimanding your child and beating the shit out your kid.
Right.
It's two
Way
different
different.
things.
Society
But
disagrees.
don't y'all
what
think
they
society is
show-
disagreeing?
What they show you is the worst of the worst. So those where people step in like, well, now you can't whoop your kids.
Right, that's
So
where it
that's
all
where
went
it's
bad.
messing up at, because it's a fine line. Like I
That
said,
and
between
And that was
participation.
after our
reprimanding your
generation.
child
Yeah, that was after
and
ours.
beating the shit out your kid. You ain't never been home where your mama had to go fight another parent that whooped you.
Never.
He didn't
Nah.
whoop you to
Never.
the point where it was beating you.
But
It
if
was
he
like,
whooped your ass,
see
he
what
took
I'm
you
saying?
home and you
Yeah,
got your
yeah,
ass
yeah.
whooped.
You
You
see what I mean?
know what I'm
So
saying?
it was a level
But see,
to it.
where it all went wrong is when they told try to tell everybody that you can't whoop your kid. That's where it all went bad.
Because now the child,
ain't-
that
it ain't
first
the
child,
parent.
somebody calling CPS
Yeah.
on them. I mean, call the police on them for beating me.
You know
And,
what I think?
and I had a
crazy.
white guy
Well,
tell me that he whooped his kid's ass, and the kid called the police, and the police come to try to chastise the dad, and the dad told him, "You take him with you. I'm raising him. And you gonna tell me I can't whoop my kid ass? You take him with you and you raise him." Not what the cop got to say, not a motherfucking
Cause he
thing.
definitely ain't taking.
You know what I'm
You know
saying?
what?
Jay, what you
You
got,
know
Jay?
what
What
happened? You know what happened? I tell you, man. Out of a lot of people that I've had conversations with and talked with, and just my own experience and assessments, man. When you start eliminating the standard in which something is effective, and you start to do these one-offs, the exception changes, the rule type of mentality, just like I'm saying, when you start basing possibility over probability, that's when you have a problem in society. You have a lot of people operating off of the small percentile, and that's just not how the world works. If you in any kind of quality control environment, and we're in the biggest one, us as human beings, you understand that they're not going to look at every single piece. If it's a issue with enough of it, something got to change.
Absolutely.
You know. So if it's an issue with enough of it, we gotta shut this whole center down, and we gotta silo this batch, quarantine this batch, and get rid of it.
But Dave was right when he was
know what I'm
talking
saying?
about accountability, and I said it starts at 2, and it starts at 2 because you have to put the fear of God in your children. You gonna fear me and God, you know, and we don't do that anymore. And I used to tell, I have a sister who had kids, and she was letting kids cuss at 2 and 3 years old. Like, and it's funny. And it's not funny because it's not gonna be funny when he cussing in front of our mama.
It ain't gonna be
You know,
funny when they
and
cussing your ass
and when he cussing you out. And so from our kids that
And that's what
little,
they say,
they
terrible
stopped getting
twos.
spankings at 10. But because by then they understood that this is what it is. You can call whoever you want to call.
What about calling
God.
your mama by their first name?
Oh,
I had a
hell no.
partner named Kenny,
Hell
man. He
no.
went in, he say Kern, hey Kern.
Hell no.
I say, you got a sister named Kern. He was
Hey,
joking.
I can feel it. I can feel it.
We trying to be on the
Yeah,
same
man, my
level
mama
as
name
our
was
children.
Mama.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But we
period.
not. We trying to be on the same level as our children. I ain't your damn friend.
I mean,
I'm their friend at 30, but
that,
not. I was
but
never
that
their
also
friend,
come.
ever.
That also come with kids that was raised by kids having kids.
Yep.
Because
Without the grandparents all up in it.
because I'm 46 years old, and for me, even today, if you can meet a chick and she got 6-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 13-year-old, and a 13-year-old a parent. Cause mama at Midtown, you know what I mean.
You're right.
And it throw you off. It throw me off simply because like you might be attractive, but your values ain't right. I can't deal with you because I can't bring mine around you. So at some point, I believe people don't even look in the mirror; they just see it. You know what I mean? Like when I pray to my God, I'm in the mirror, stripped of all things, because I got to come clean with myself. You know what I mean? Like everybody got their own belief system, but I believe mine is right here, because He made me in His image. So therefore, if I got to talk to that God to get it right, you know what I mean? Because when I come out that mirror, I'm gonna stand on them same 10 toes that God is holding on to, and I got to move in accordance of what I believe in, which is self-respect, dedication, and hard work. You know what I'm saying? It's 5 P's to a conscious mind. And you got to live by something. You got to have some type of standard. And if you're not, most people not raising their children on standards.
No standard.
You know what I mean? Like, I learned standards from the dope man, the cable man. I learned standards from a lot of different people. But I also had a single parent father. I didn't have a mother. I have one, but she wasn't in my household. You get what I'm saying? So it was, my process was different. So even with my children, I applied the way my dad did to me. And it's sometimes like, yeah, he feared my voice. That bothers me sometimes.
No.
But it don't bother me because at the end of the day, it's going to be rectified. You get what I'm saying? Like, we don't hold value in being a parent.
No.
We only hold value in the practice of making a child.
Do we even do that?
I always, if I have a question or when I'm in deep thought about something, I always take it all the way back to nature. It's the only pure thing in the whole world, and it can give you all the answers that you seek.
Eating.
Yep.
I mean, every facet, every condition, every issue. If you want to know how you're supposed to raise your child, what happened to the lions? What do you want to know how to raise this? Look at the gazelle when they had their young. Do you want to know who runs what? Look at the family dynamic of this animal over here. It's so many answers in nature, but the problem that we have with it is the answers that are in nature, people are they're demonizing them. They're making those answers seem like they're not sufficient anymore.
But the crazy part is we animals too.
Absolutely.
We are.
But look at it like this. If let's say we all were riding down the street and we saw two people playing basketball. And see, this is where I think we don't understand how hard people fight to protect what's theirs. We're going after that. So we riding down the street seeing people playing basketball. We walk up on the court. I say, I tell you what, you versus you, win to get 15 grand, no referee. Playing a 10. Do you think they're going to cheat?
Yes, sir.
They'll do whatever it takes to
Everything
win.
they can. Yeah.
So if that's a simple basketball game for $10,000 to $15,000,
What's the nature?
what do you think the families or the people that run this entire world are willing to do to protect us?
Oh, you know.
And when you look at it like that, then you understand what the media is, how it is used as a tool to make sure that you only see this, you only see that, you
Guide
only
your
see
family.
this.
Glorified.
So now I mean, think about it. When we was kids, we all thought Africa was poor, right or wrong.
Yes, sir.
Didn't have
Right,
no
the
clothes.
only thing you see on TV
whole
was
jungle.
the
Flies.
flies on the eye and they hungry and all of this. And then you get older and you're like, man, you got blue waters and
And Dave, it's all about interference, man. It's about interfering with what. That's why when you watch a zoologist or a person that's out in the wild, man, and the person that's watching it, the viewer, they're saying, oh my God, why are they letting that animal kill that little defenseless?
That's the nature.
You have to allow it to happen. And guess what? Their societies have never had a revolution.
Yep.
Their societies, you've never seen hyenas
war.
take over the Lion Kingdom. You've never seen it
There you
happen.
go, say.
And I talked, and I spoke
Why you
about,
letting an
and I
alligator
spoke
kill that
about
hippo? That cameraman's
on
just
the
watching.
previous show.
Where'd he
Your
go?
inherent nature
Jump in that
is
cloud.
what moves you forward to do what you need to do to accomplish what you need to do. And a lot of times you don't even have to think about it. Now, when you start using tools and when you start using other invasive things, just like an invasive
Mind-altering.
species,
Yep.
you're taking yourself off your natural trajectory. Therein, when I said 24 hours a day, that's relative. You have a day.
Yeah.
Don't get caught up on night time and daylight time. You have certain amount of ability to strategize and execute your plan, no matter if it's quote unquote 3 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Do your best thinking then.
And when you start interrupting those natural processes the way you're supposed to be naturally, that's where you have a problem.
Yeah.
And that's where it's starting with the youth. It's too much artificial.
We're seeing the effects of it.
But like, just okay. Good segue. Talking about the youth. There's a question for all y'all. I just want y'all to answer honestly. A Draco and all that stuff was not the first place you heard about those was on the rap radio.
Nah.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know what a Draco is. Okay, I got
Okay,
it.
so I'm just saying, as far as a Drake, I'm talking as far as it being popular, being popularized, making it a popular weapon of choice. And next you know, every rapper on they live got a Draco. Every other line in a rap record
You made it important.
is about a Draco. You see what I'm saying? Our gun was the Uzi.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Real talk. I'm talking about as far as it being
Tech Nine.
popularized,
Tech
Tech
Nine,
Nine, and a Uzi. See,
Mac
like I
you
said,
You know what a Tech 9 is.
So you get what I'm saying? So I think in those guns, those on the let's go. Anybody pull up the Wild Outdoorsman channel?
They
When
not
they out
using
there hunting. You show me one that got a Draco.
They got none of
You
that.
They
show
got
me
none
one
of
that
That's
got
a
a Draco.
handgun for
It's
real.
actually going
They
out
got
there
a
to
2,
kill
2,
something other
3.
I
than
mean, it's a
enemy.
war. It's a war weapon.
Right.
I mean,
And so what? Okay, you say what? And this is a military man speaking.
Yeah.
It's
It
a
is.
war weapon. Did
It's
y'all
a war
hear that?
weapon.
A war.
Most
say,
definitely.
Here, I'm gonna put you on model. He
It's
said
a war
it's
weapon.
War weapon.
and every country has a different version of it.
Now, that gun being sold locally, you said
Accessible.
that's a war weapon.
It's considered
so-
a
so-
handgun.
Right.
It's a
Come on.
It's a
Come on,
modified
cool.
hand.
Come on, cool.
so it's part of the plot, right?
That's what
This go all the way back to COINTELPRO, and it just happened to happen here. Like what people don't realize is how we got to where we at in our city. Is on Goodfellow in 70. It used to be an armory.
Yep.
They used to make all the bullets for the military, and that's why Walnut Park is called Murderville. Also, it's a train that come from Broadway and Teller by Wonder Bread, and it come past the old Pillsbury and the old Brown Shoe Company, go right past Matthew Dickey to go to Goodfellow. I'm 8 years old. That was the first guns I had off of a train. And we literally, 9 little boys pushing big boxes of guns off the train. And we go and collect them after we get to Matthew Dickey. And you pick, and I ain't talking no couple of guns. I'm talking hundreds of guns. That was my first hustle. And I ain't trying to incriminate myself, but that was my first hustle.
Statute of
just
limitations.
did.
Statute of limitations.
I mean-
Statute of limitations.
But at the end of the
is
day,
good.
they ain't got
You
no,
good,
they ain't got no evidence. I'm telling you out my mouth, but
At
you
the
got to have
end
a fact.
of the day.
At the end of the day, that's what
That
started.
being
That's what
said.
started. That's what started all the issues. You know what I mean? Like prior to that, it was 22s, 35s, 38s.
Right. So, but I'm saying, okay. When I remember, Dave, you were saying as far as the percentage wise of people hearing of a Uzi in our day was from Ice-T, Public Enemy,
NWA.
Yeah.
I mean, we can go back.
KRS-One.
You see what I mean? Because a lot of people that was listening to hip hop wasn't into guns yet. You know, probably wasn't a lot of street dudes that we had.
Right.
You know, but I'm just saying as far as them popularizing the gun, like a Draco popularizing the gun. Now, you know, we had street sweepers. We had, you know, the terms for all that. Now, it's just gun. You see what I mean? My whole point was building up is that, you know, it was a popular thing. You know, somebody, yeah, get Tech 9 or this and that. But now, man, it's just like you gotta have it as part of you. I
It's
ain't
like
gonna
piece
say
of jewelry.
uniform. It's a piece of jewelry.
It matches their shoes. And the state of Missouri allows for a 13-year-old to carry a
She
gun
said
without a
that.
license.
She
It
said
does.
that. That is crazy.
Because that was intended for hunting purposes. But I think the underlying issue is, and now these Negroes can go shoot each other, you know, and that's okay. The police can't stop you if they see you with a gun, but these new open carry laws.
You know what? The
13.
net
13.
of it, the net of it is nothing's real. Nothing's reality until it's real. So you have a lot of undeveloped minds, and when you're talking about, you know, young men or young women that are between the ages of 10 and up to they get into they even early 20s, these are impulsive minds, man. Their brains ain't even developed.
Yep.
So
Right.
that would be just like me putting a whole bunch of little lady running around here, me lighting a firework and putting it in her hand, expect her to do the right thing with it. She doesn't know she's not developed enough to do the right thing.
And
A lot
man
of
ain't
these children
till 25.
aren't
Say
either.
it again.
And a lot of folks, some folks will say, well, it's the education system. No, it's not that.
It's the
It's
home
not
system.
that, because you have rural people that live in rural environments that inherently and morally from, you know, the environment that they know not to do certain things. So you can't blame
And
it on
they're
the
taught to
education.
shoot a gun
That's
in real
because
life.
of lack there of freedom. those people in rural areas don't have the same freedom as the people who are in the cities because, one, teaching tells you that it's not tolerated. Two, there's also a huge shame principle that goes with that as well.
It's because they have almost total control over their environment. And there's very little influence that are able to come in and influence it. And if you try, they have signs. We shoot and we kill trespassers. So if you don't have the next person 40 miles from you, and ain't no city slickers coming down there, you can come and play if you want to, and you can stay in Missouri and do that. Go get deep down into the hills. Yeah, so they got more control over their environment, so they ain't gonna let it happen.
The freedom, you increase the morality. Is that fair to say?
When you decrease the influence, you're able to have more control over the environment.
But you can't decrease it unless you got control of it.
Watch this though. You got people in Springfield, Missouri, okay? That's Southwest Missouri, that will never come to St. Louis. And I know they say St. Louis is crazy. I've never been up there.
And I'm not going. It's
a totally different paradigm there. And we're only, a few hundred miles away.
But that also go back to news and media, because anytime you look at Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 5, Channel 11.
Ain't never nothing good.
It ain't never nothing good, but guess what? They only talking about the exact same location every time, but they categorize it as St. Louis. Like,
propaganda.
Like, don't get me wrong, we got some bad stuff that go on, but it's not as bad as they make it sound.
They only mention North.
That's
Pay
the only
attention.
place.
North County, North City. If something happened outside of North City or North County, a St. Louis man or a St. Louis, that's how you know they not from North County or North City. It happens all the time.
They cutting up in South County.
Do you think it's a bigger plan than that? For instance, remember back when it was the city so bad, the city so bad, and everybody move out, move west. Now all of a sudden,
Move back to the city.
The city is affluent. South City changed over there by Tower Grove and changed.
That's they plan.
But that's a failed gentrification, though.
It's
That's
been the
they
plan.
plan. They're getting all the blocks out the city.
It is a
putting
plan,
them in the
pushing them up
county.
north.
Hold on. That's also a failed gentrification. That was a gentrification that failed. When they start putting hood homes in North County, everywhere, like Maryland Heights is one of the only counties that's West County where it starts at, where you can't have a hood home and live out there. You anything inside of that, okay, because that's closer to North County. Because we only got 3 sides, not 4.
And all of it is planned. They're trying to keep us in one area, contained.
If it was a failed gentrification, that's when they first tried to get us out the city. That's why you still got abandoned buildings with bricks, because they still selling them bricks. That's our #1 export as a city. Like, we got to realize that, bro. Like, everywhere that we live is where the city makes their biggest amount of money. Because they keep it broken down and impoverished, and you can't go and you could be an entrepreneur and you can say, hey, I want to buy this piece of land. Well, let's hold on it, sir.
Yep.
What they're doing is letting it tear down, and then they come over there and buy it.
But the problem is they can't get us out of there.
Here go the his
They
story.
working on it.
Okay, so when the United States government, after the big plan happened, after the new plan happened, the United States government had to figure out a way to bail the people out. Okay, the country was in a bad spot. This was after the Great Depression happened, in the 20s, in late 20s into the 30s. So they had to come up and devise a plan. One of their plans was public housing. It was not originally for us, but in order for them to be able to implement that plan, they had to include us. So when they started building the housing projects, it's more specifically in the city of St. Louis, it was Pruitt and Igo. It was whites and blacks. When the government funding ran out, which it never had to, but it was never meant to be a long-term plan for anyone, especially not us. The first suburban sprawl was 2 blackjack trees, and they named that Blackjack. The first ordinance that they put on the books was no interracial couples and no black people,
unmarried couples as well. They just overturned
that.
Yeah, that was like a year ago.
Go back to 1965. The reason why we have Medicare now, okay, is because of the civil rights. The only reason why the civil rights bill was because of Medicare. All right, the South didn't want to go along with intermingling, desegregation.
That's what killed us.
So the only way they were able to get the South on board, because the civil rights bill was started in '63. They killed Kennedy in '64. Lyndon Baines was still trying to fight with the South and the North and try to keep them from succeeding again. And what they said was, if y'all don't segregate these hospitals, y'all won't get the government funding.
That's right.
I.e.
So the
City Hospital.
civil rights bill was pushed forward, and that introduced Medicare in 1965. So it's always a different agenda. I'm telling you, look it up. Look it up. So it was never just an agenda to help out poor people, period, and especially not us. And I'm going to pass it on from there.
All right.
Do you think that as a community that we need to expand our horizons and start looking at places outside of St. Louis that you can turn into oasis? Last time I was here, we were talking about property on
Land.
lakes and things like that. So me and my wife were looking at a place called Innsbrook. And
Got friends down
yeah,
there.
it's time. It's time. So it's time. So
Absolutely.
it
I
is.
fish down there. I
It
fish.
is. I love fishing. That's part of the reason. But look at a place like that that has pristine lakes. They call it a resort, golf course, pools, restaurants. They're self-sufficient, and it's 41 to 45 minutes away, maybe an hour for some.
It's an hour.
Why is it that our conversations are not, hey, let's go buy some property here and create our own oasis? Hey, and I'm not even talking about
I wish Ted was here for
just
this.
the black community, because we also talked about like-minded people, and I really love like-minded people because they're way easier to talk to. But why is that not the topic of discussion? Why is there not plans formed or people coming together to say, hey, I got 10 grand, I got 10 grand, I got 10 grand. For the love of God, you can find 20 people with 5 grand. Buy their property, and then you could even just Airbnb it until you put yourself in a better scenario.
It's the Willie Lynch letter.
It's the mindset of people.
It's the Willie
Are you
Lynch
talking
letter.
about
It's a
all people
mindset
there,
of
but just
people.
blacks?
All people.
All people.
It's the
But it's
mindset.
the
All
it's
people
the
in the same situations.
it's the
Because there's people who don't look like us who still in the
predicament,
same situation.
right?
Because like you said earlier, scenarios dictate, environment dictates behavior. So if your environment is the same, then your behavior probably is going to be the same no matter what color you are.
I'm going to use one word.
Let
They
me
call
give
that
you one.
socialism.
Yeah.
Let me give
They ain't gonna let it
this.
happen.
This will be my answer to your question. The biggest problem is the mentality that has been developed off the Willie Lynch letter. Secondly, most people that come from our environments, they're afraid to start something new because they've been so used to being given everything. So if they don't, the work ethic for things of that nature does not apply in the mental state.
Yes, sir.
So until we able to change the mental state to what hard work is, because before the Willie Lynch letter, we built everything. We built everything that made slavery what it was. Whether it be us, i.e. black people, or them poor white people, they did the same thing. But what happened was they went and made their environments in trailer parks. We made ours in the projects. They learned how to consistently be self-sufficient. We learned how to keep our hand out. And until we learn how to put my hands in my pocket and share what's in there, it's not gonna happen. That's why I'm a true believer that those type of things don't come from drug dealers, because they understand sharing their wealth.
And real quick, Dave, it would be possible, but it would be so esoteric. We talked about this on the social media. It would be so esoteric. It'll be just like, AKA Omega Phi Psi. It'll be just like that because they're doing things like that. But you have to be a part of that in order and pay dues and be dedicated and crawl through some kind of procedure. It would be so esoteric that the masses of the people that will really benefit from it wouldn't be able to be a part of it. And that's all I got to say.
All right, y'all. Well, that's our time with Dave, y'all. We was running
That was
over.
good
Oh,
right there.
dang.
That was
That's
great
our
to end
time.
in there.
But listen,
Hey.
Dave was not.
Hey.
Hey, Dave, we just came to sit in, y'all. So it's a beautiful thing. We appreciate
Appreciate you.
Dave
was
coming
productive.
through as
Esoteric.
usual. My dirty, my dog.
You learned a new word today? You did?
See,
That's
I'm
so
sneaking
cool.
my meetings in
Esoteric.
with you. You don't see how I start sneaking my meetings in.
I thought he said I start sticking my meat in.
Yeah, I thought you were saying that too.
Sneaking his meat in.
Ding, 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 ding.
What's wrong with
Oing,
y'all?
oing, oing.
All right, y'all. So
Where you sticking your meat in?
We got to teach you, man. Because I'm telling you,
Sneaking his meat in.
whatever, y'all.
you can't. But if you don't, if you don't speak it into existence, it ain't never happen. Never. That's why the conversation's got to be about that.
So I tell you, quit playing into them shenanigans. Talking
What'd
about
you say?
sneaking the meeting and all that.
That's what it sounds like.
No, see, y'all
And he's